There's nobody on here.
Okay.
Oh, let
Well,
me write
yep.
the title. Let me write the title of the show on here. I think I already have it. Yep, here it is. Let's go ahead and make that. Oop. Oh, that's not it. What was? Oh, that was you.
Hmm?
Uh, higher. Wait, higher vibrations. Did you get a message from somebody, an email, about having a session about what you talked about on Friday? Anyway, somebody asked me for your email, so I figured it'd be okay
Oh,
because they
yeah, that's
wanted. Yeah,
totally cool.
right. Let me finish
Yeah.
writing this. What the hell did I do? Where'd it go, people? Oh, there it is. Higher vibrations featuring. Oh, I just put higher vibrations on the. Okay, so it just so happened that I made a mistake, and as a result of the mistake, we decided to go ahead and just make this Spotlight Sunday. So all the broadcasts today are on social media because I made a mistake on the first show. So I thought, well, hell, if it, might as well just do it for the whole day.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Okay,
It's awesome.
yeah. Oh, getting a little crowd in here already. Okay, well, it's your show. You take it away, ladies. I'm just here for the
Well,
ride, as requested.
welcome everyone. I'm Higher Vibrations, and so are you. There's been some really amazing downloads and just sudden connection with psychic abilities. This amazing expression of meeting this frequency that a lot of us have been talking about through email, through other conversations, and just I would like to echo that first to say that just to let you all know that there are more of you, and there's a lot of people having this all of a sudden online kind of experience, and amplified psychic abilities has been the most reported. So, I just want you all to know that you're not alone and that you're okay. This is actually what we've been working toward, right? So we're here. And um, part of this all of a sudden knowing and coding and understanding comes from the people that we have today joining us for this conversation. Elsa has joined us a few times already. She's just an amazing energy. I love connecting with her. I'll say things and I don't remember what it was, and then she'll remember everything that was said and then giving a different spin on it, and it's like all the code and the unlocking that happens through it. And so today she's presenting specifically the desire to talk about some of this stuff that's coming out about the Druid knowledge, the Odin and the dragons, and I have some to share on that too. So, and Todd's joining us. Hello, everybody knows who Todd Medina is, of
Mm-hmm.
course. So, thank you for joining us in this awesome conversation.
Thank you.
Hey, I I'm always muting because our house is so loud. So it is. We're doing this with our families. Like we're doing this real. Like this is not our professions, but we've had callings, which is what Pamela's talking about. We've had callings, and we didn't understand what they meant when they first came through, but we've unpack them. I love how Todd always says that. He always says, I got to hang on a second, stop talking. I got to unpack some of the stuff you just said because you have to unpack all this. Like, and if you don't understand it, if you don't get it, it can create illness and disease in us. And if this is the case, like what Pamela said, a lot of you are having this awakening really fast in this just short few days period. It could send you loopy, and
Yeah.
I know because I was loopy.
Great.
and I was loopy in my family as well, so I was being loopy, but they weren't. So
Yeah.
that's tricky in itself too, because everyone's going through this process at their own spin. So if you live in a family, that can be tricky, or if you're in a community, or in groups, it can be tricky because they're doing this, they're doing that, and you just have to like go within and find that truth in you, and trust it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That the trust is probably the biggest, the most time consumed in order to recalibrate, so you can access that the most. I would say. I think that's where we put most of our barriers on. Right? Wouldn't you think that the learning to trust ourselves and to trust the experience to be able to be in the flow and not need to have at least a pretend version of control over a situation? Did I just lose my internet?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back.
That's trippy. That was trippy.
Yeah.
It's turned into a Japanese movie.
What happened?
Your voice was coming in, your lips were not moving. Yeah. Trusting trusting because you can't control, right? Is that what you're saying? Like, it's weird. I mean, and you're right. It's like all over the place, and it's really a good time to remember: don't take anything personal. Don't compare. I mean, you can, but it's just gonna, make it worse. And I don't know. I just feel like I've been feeling this all year, but it feels like it's 100% now, and that's just create. Just create. Just make it. Just create things. Do shows, broadcasts, write, sing, dance, talk. The shadows, you look at the shadows. We've been looking at the shadows, and you look at them until they're no more because they never were there in the first place. The shadow is the light. That's it. And I know that sounds, and some people for certain issues will take longer than other people. It doesn't mean that we're all at the same place.
Exactly.
But it has been. I don't know anything about these past few days. I mean, I know there was a Lionsgate, but it sure felt to me like yesterday something like that whole literally die and birth occurred, and nothing's left behind. You know what I mean?
What it was is that there was emotion. This is how I experienced it. I was doing meditation, so I had some visuals happening. Though what it really was is that a lot of us were letting go, kind of what looked like grass, like we were sitting a pond in a circle in a valley or something, and we let go of the grass, like we're holding on. When you let go, you find out that you're not going anywhere in particular, and you're then able to take in what place you've been on this whole time, realizing that you're in this meadow. The visual interpretation that came through for me, something happened. I feel like that we had a couple of astrological things occurring, like we had a meteor shower and all these other different things that are occurring in astral and the planetarily speaking. However, there was also some other things occurring that were like we just got a B solar flare reported. That never happens. It's a B flare. Why would they report that? Like, I didn't even, so the way the solar flares work is it's a C flare with 1 through 9 to kind of quantify its intensity. And then there's an M flare, the same thing, and then an X flare. And they reported a B flare today. So I found that really fascinating. Oh, and then you just posted up, where did it go? There's a Chandra's comment.
Yeah. It's a Venus. Venus went through a Gate 7 initiation to burn herself out. This is very much a death rebirth.
There you go. Thank you.
And so what's a B flare? Is that like the mildest of the bunch?
Yeah. It's so light in its intensity that when it makes impact on the planet, it doesn't even present any oranges or reds or anything. I actually took a screenshot because I was like, what in the world? It just So this is what it looks like. It looks like it's this violet,
Wow.
indigo blue color, and usually you'll see like reds and yellows, even greens in there, and so it's just like very bizarre,
Trippy.
you know. And yeah, um, and this is what it is meant to be, is to balance all things in, and that has a lot to do with what we were kind of gearing toward talking about today as well. Though before we get into that, I would like to highlight something that we were talking about before we joined this call, is that some of us are having experience where it's really awesome and like, wow, like I'm just so cool and euphoric, and we're finding it like we're trying to hold it in almost because we don't want to. There's some people who are having the opposite experience, and it's a time of recalibration. So some people, it's not even your fault. There's no shame or guilt to be had there. Have a um, at this moment more to unpack, as an example of what was said earlier, than um, somebody who's been doing it for a little while longer, or there's a lot of different factors that come into play, and that this is another example of when we measure ourselves against someone else, then we kind of eliminate some of the awesomeness from how it feels when we're in the experience. So, to be clear, we're in an awesome time, even if you're struggling. Just keep with the what you're doing. What I found typically is most of the people who are having the most intense physical sensation regarding soul ascension symptoms and stuff tend to be the first waiver group, like Dolores Cannon mentioned in her information, and it's you came here with the ability to handle the density that's gone now. And so you're just undergoing a more accelerated version of recalibration in order to acclimate you for this new frequency. And so as a result, there's a lot of purging, a lot of sacral chakra area discomfort, a lot of nausea stuff. So that's solar plexus as well. Um, this is the fear, grief, and bitterness and anger areas of our body that were just highlighted. So these are things that need to be released. In particular, most of these groups, this group talks about the need to allow themselves to have grief, because we're leaving behind an identity, so we're saying goodbye to ourselves. So that's my spiel. I just, it was really good that it got brought up, so I wanted to make sure we didn't forget to talk about it.
So, okay, can we unpack this?
Yes, let's do it.
So, because I just saw something on this, like in the last 2 days, and it was specifically talking about first waivers. Somebody wrote a post and they were describing when these folks were born, which I believe was from like 1946 to somewhere in the 60s.
Right.
And so you're saying that the first waivers are in a sense getting hit the hardest because they were built to go into the deepest density. They were made for that. And what's the piece that I missed? And that it's like what you said at the end, so it's not anything that we haven't experienced before, but it's happening like faster, quicker, or something. Or
Yes.
okay, so it's the same thing we've been through before, but it's just moving very quick.
Yeah. It's all coming at the same time is a way to quantify it. So before it would be like a real subtle, regarding body discomfort, you would say it would be more of a subtle, like it would inflame over time kind of thing. And then it's like, well, there's a thing, and of course of several months, and now it's just like, whoa, I'm feeling this hard, and it can be relieved by expressing that emotional underlying emotional area. So remembering, if it has to do specifically regarding a specific rather organ of your body, you look that up. There's acupuncturists have been telling us forever. You can look it up in any internet search engine. What emotion is related to, and then fill in the blank of the organ, and then they will tell you, and they'll give you a whole information based on this particular range of emotion. Liver is anger, and that's the most commonly common difficulty right now. We got spleen stuff, we got gallbladder. Gallbladder's the grief too, and the emotional removing and saying goodbye kind of stuff. There's so you can see the underlying emotional thing that needs to be expressed, and that's why we have physical sensations. All of our dis-ease is our body telling us, look at this area, you know, you got something to unpack. I like that word. And like you got something to like look into and see why this, and it often is coming from a past life incarnation or ancestral or a variety of different things. And so while this is happening at this time, we're getting all this extra light. There's a lot that's been stored in these areas in order to cope through this earlier density time when these individuals came in. If they came in speaking only the language of love, which is where we came from, we're natural speakers of love, into a place where it's the language of the area is fear. Sometimes it sounds like anger, but it's fear conversation. I'm angry. I'm scared. That kind of thing. We came here to be the voice of this love, and the first waivers, a lot of them came with enough of this anger stuff that they're able to cope. And that's just really it. And so now it's time to let that out, let that go. It doesn't have to have a name. It doesn't have to have this is where it came from. It's just to be expressed is to allow to purge in order to fill it up with something that's more correct for your frequency that you're keeping. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, if you're not listening to your oversoul, your essence coming in here on Gaia, what's the point? You're supposed to listen to your reason that you're here, and we've been told that there is no reason that you're here. So now you have to listen to a reason why you're here. And this is tricky because we've been programmed not to believe that there is a reason why we're here. We're just here. But we're not. We're here for a reason. We're here to create. Like Todd said in the beginning, we're here to be. Creation wants to see us create. That's the point of creation. So if you're not here for a reason, then you're not creating. So now you've stopped creation. So if you stop this powerful force of the sun or the soul or the Christ energy that we are, wow, you're really messing with some stuff. And these bigger energies that are coming through, and we've all spoken about them this year and the build up for next year, is saying, okay, well, creation's really, okay, we're at this point now it's this point. And wake up. It's time to rise and shine. And feel it and feel it and feel it. You're not feeling it, okay? Well, maybe we'll try it a bit more this way. And we'll try it a bit more this way. And I'm speaking from my personal experience or things I see happening in our family members. So I'm not speaking from any medical journal. I'm just talking purely what I've seen happen over the last 2 or 3 decades in our family. The more we addressed our pain, the more it healed. Right. These healings are also classed as miracles because by the medical industry, they're impossible. Yeah. There's no way you can fix a broken bone that's that broken in that time period. It's impossible. But I just did. But it's impossible.
Right.
Well, for you it's impossible, but for us it just happens. So I'm going to go with that because that one feels better and I'm not broken. And people say, well, how do you do it? And I say, well, you keep addressing, like Todd said, you don't have fear, you don't have anger, you don't blame. I can't blame Richard, and Richard can't blame me, and the kids can't blame me. I can't blame the dog. I can't blame the sun. It's my creation here creating. And my creation really loves me and really wants me to feel creation. And if I'm saying no to it, I'm turning off me.
Yeah.
How can you turn off you? It's your show. You're the star. How can you turn you off? You can't turn you off and be somebody else. That really does not work. It might work for a little bit, but it burns out really quickly, especially with, this heightened energy. And, this, if you haven't heard words like this before, it might take you a bit of time to unpack it. And that's great, because now you're feeling it and you actually had a glimpse of it, of you. You're having glimpses of you.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, oh, well, you understand it. You're further ahead. There's no race.
Right.
When we've seen our pets die in the last few weeks, I said to the kids, there's no scorecard. One horse doesn't say, haha, I'm bigger than you, I'm taller than you. They just come and they go, like the rise and the set of the sun. There's no scorecard. There's no I'm better than you. It's just what you experienced here. What did you create here?
Right.
And it is tricky for us, because we have been literally told a bunch of messy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're messed up stories. And if you can now find all those stories that you've heard, and there is truth in some of those stories, in some of those movies you've seen, or the nursery rhymes, or the carols, or the songs you've heard, there are gifts and clues in them of truth. You've just got to find your versions in there.
Yeah. Exactly right. It's channeling. It's 222. It's channeling. Like when we are in the creation place, we're channeling, we are manifesting, we're using all of these different higher skills that we don't really think that we have access to. And through that channeling process, books, movies are written, all kinds of things, and so there are, I call them breadcrumbs, the Hansel and Gretel concept, because these codes are activating and just knowing that they're there. And it's like, and that's why I get so many references of movies and things that had happened in that type of media format when we do channeling, is because those are like, and this part, remember this movie that was real, but this part was wrong, and kind of thing. And it's true. And it's all there. And all these hidden codes are starting to be revealed in other places too. But beneath these waters that are being moved, there's a lot of, it's a time of understanding and of creation. And Todd, didn't you just say that you're feeling more the need to create and to just express and do and be lately? Your audio's off.
Sorry about that. Yeah, well, no, I've felt this since last year. I've actually felt it since 2021.
Yeah.
And that is like start creating, like the first Soulogy Fest was end of May, 1st of June in 2021. Second one was this time last year. And the third one's coming up. But I kept getting like the message, we don't have to swim in the shadows all the time.
Yeah.
Like shadow work is what it is. But we've reached a point where all shadow is the same. Right? Like you look at the shadow, you see the shadow until it's no more, because there is no shadow. The shadow is the light is the shadow. So this whole thing that some people have been pulling down for June, July, that victimhood is leaving or gone. It's gone. Perpetrator energy is gone. All that stuff is gone. And the only thing that exists of it is what we project. So, to be harsh, any judgment is perpetrator energy. Any judgment creates a victimhood. So it's hard because we're so used to these certain modus operandi, right? We're used to operating and navigating life in a certain way. And we're figuring out how to live without those human conditional methods, right? And I don't have the answer. personally, but I do know one thing. If I'm focusing on creation, like Elsa was talking about, then I'm in love, and I'm operating with like frequencies. It's just how it works. Because what I'm not doing, or what I can say, is that true creation energy does not come with any exceptions. In other words, I can't go, oh, I'm going to go create a SoulogyNetwork, and we're going to have this rule and that rule and this rule and that rule. Or like, universe, I love my life except for this 2% over here. You need to remove that. No, you can't. So so I don't like staying in your own lane, owning everything. These things that we've been coming to over after all these years. But how do you actually operate in this new energy? What does it feel like? And I can say for myself that it's just pure creation. Just get to work. And it's not work, it's passion. And I'm watching this happen over the last 2-3 weeks. I had no idea there was going to be this explosion of people that want to be part of something and build something and have original ideas and come out and play. Like, this is the most fascinating thing to me. And then I'm reading comments of people that, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, I'm just making a point, of people that are, I've seen several this week, like, oh, you're charging for an app, which isn't even true, or spiritual group comments, or who gives a fuck, right? That's not my thing over there, right? Like if I'm creating, then I'm creating. That's what the universe is. It doesn't sit stagnant. It creates. And I think Elsa hit it on the head too. Why are you here? Right. Why are you here? That's only for you. Are you here for sacred union? Are you here for practitioner purposes? Are you here to introduce modalities? Are you here to whatever it is? But what are you here to do? Right. And are you resisting it?
And how to find out what that is that this is the coolest part. Like, when I got this understanding, I was like, well, that's like, my logic said that's too easy. Is that if it sucks, it's not your job. if it's not fun, it's if fun, like when you're happy, the whole goal is to be happy. What makes you happy? What is your play? And everyone's play looks different. Like, some people being put in trading positions with Todd would not enjoy Todd's life, and some would. However, what I'm pointing out here is that everyone is exactly in the life that they're meant to be in, and in this the way that you're able to access all the things that you need so readily based on that point. What is your play? And it changes regularly, and you'd be surprised lately for me too, is the kinds of play that I didn't think I wouldn't have called play, like, it just wouldn't have, there's, and it's becoming that. And so, again, not measuring yourself and just knowing that, because see, the thing is when all this stuff started coming, and they started to tell me I had to do a YouTube channel like in 2020, and I was just like, middle finger, no, no, and that went on for a year before I finally gave in. And the part that was keeping me from wanting to do it was, I had this understanding, because they were showing me what was going to happen down the road for it as a result of it, and I was going to be around a lot of people, and I was incredibly introverted at that time. One time someone tried to FaceTime me on the phone, and I deleted them. Like, I don't FaceTime people kind of person. And then all of a sudden, anyway, then they made clear that if it sucks, it's not your job. And what's more is that if it's not fun for me, it's not your job. And what's more is that it's fun for somebody else. So get out of their way. You know, you don't have to do all of these things. Just do what's natural for you. And in so doing, not only are you making a physical change, you're making an energetic change. When you're in a place of love, joy, play, happiness, you change the energy before you into something different, improved. And so just sometimes when you're by yourself, you think that you're not doing anything when you really are. So I went on another tangent. I've been talking a lot lately. I'm sorry, guys.
Change your show to tangents. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking with you. But this thing that Elsa said again, you know, about listening, okay, what you were saying, okay, so you did not, and a lot of people can relate to this, you did not want to be in front of a camera, but so you resisted. So this is common in different circumstances, but common for people. We resist whatever we're being told for whatever reason.
Right.
So we're overriding it with our free will, and we've entered a stage now where you can't do that without it being painful as hell very quickly. So, but like in your case, you end up and you start doing it, and you like it, or you wouldn't be doing it. That's what you're saying, right? Yeah. But we have to try it. We have to try it. We can't just disregard it. And I do believe that we're here to be seen and heard by whatever's suitable and likable from each individual.
Right. And
so
though
sorry,
Elsa, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I got to share this story because it's an example because of everything our family have been through, and it still happens to us. I just want to bring this up because it was very real and it's just happened. So we have 2 horses now have passed, and we've had to cremate them. So we have to collect wood, and it takes a long time to burn them. So I'm collecting wood with our deaf Dalmatian, and he comes with us all the time. This time, where I had messages before, I must have not caught on to the messages or dismissed them or not given them the attention or the power that they needed. Our Dalmatian dog got sucked under the trailer. Our 2 girls are on the horses behind, scream, and I hear their call. I turn around and I look back, and the head of the Dalmatian is under the wheel. Now, I thought I've killed him. I honestly thought I'd killed him. And I had to go into what Pamela has described. She said, don't go into those panic modes of thought. You have to stay collected so you can handle each moment. So I heard Pamela's words that she said many times to us all. So I turned off the fear and doubt. I released the brake, and we're on a hill. It rolled back, and he ran out. He was screaming. And he jumped into my lap, and I thought, oh, he's going to have internal bleeding. He's going to, cross over. The girls are on their big horses, and I said, you cannot panic. You have to be like now how I released the brake. You cannot panic. If you panic, the horses are going to read it, and they're going to bolt. So you've got to all stay calm. We'll get up the house. We'll deal with this as is. Not make it into something it isn't. Just make it into something it is. Freaking out because I've still had the vision of him under the wheel. I get him inside, and I am shaking because now, I've got 2 big horses, and we're still cremating one, and I've nearly, killed the dog. He's fine. He's absolutely fine, but I'm still freaking out, right? Mm-hmm. I go to sleep that night, and I get woken at witch hour. We call it witch hour, so 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. those times. Sometimes there's Odin hour, so it's 11, but usually at the moment it's 2 or 3 again. I get woken with the message that understanding Odin's gifts spins the silent gods. Now, silent gods can just be quiet gods, the ones that are coming through awakening now, meaning we're all gods, and the silent ones are the ones that didn't know they were gods, but now they're realizing now. So by understanding Odin's gifts, the power of this knighthood, the understanding of it will awaken. And I was like, I woke up the next morning and the dog is perfect. There's no blood, there's no broken bones, there's no nothing. And I went, so because I understand the messages and I've unpacked the messages and also shared the messages, which is what my meanness is, it just moves on. But moves on another ascension level. Yet if I didn't address the messages, maybe something else more would happen because I'm not listening to my oversoul.
Right.
I gave this example because it's really graphic, and it was really, it took a lot. I was shaking for hours. I think I was even shaking in my sleep because it's such a graphic visual. And a lot of these people going through this ascension stuff are going to be having really graphic stuff happening for them. Stay calm, unpack it like Todd, and use it. There's something in it. There's some message in it. There's some clue. There's someone you're meant to help. There's something in there that you're meant to. Your meanness is in there. To heal yourself, to heal the plants, to heal water. There's something message in there. There's a calling, and I'm sharing this story because we had 2 deaths, but then we had this one. It wasn't a death, but if anything was going to be a death, it felt like it was that one. But it wasn't. And this is what's happening. You see it in the news. Like the kids say, have you seen what's going on in the news? And I went, no, I can't. Like when you see bushfires and floods, like we were in the Lismore floods, when you see it, you think the whole country is in it. They don't just this small region, but the way they feed it in the feed, they make it like it's the end of that whole island or something. It's just so over-dramatized and unnecessary. Really is unnecessary. But we build it up. We're like those where you look at an impressionist painting and you fill in the blanks, and that's what the media does. It's very clever. It gives you all this fear, and then it makes you fill it in that it's happening everywhere.
Yeah. And it's embedded like by the repeat of like constant, like that's how you condition any response. That's how also, by the way, you turn on your some of your powers if you should choose powers. We all have powers. We're all superpowers, like all of us, like we're all superheroes. That's what my kiddo's always saying. This is HQ. We're doing an HQ meeting. That's what she calls these things. And like, because we're superpowers or superheroes. And it's allowing yourself to open the possibility of it and just kind of doing a repeat in your head about it. It's like that I am powerful. And when you say that you are something instead of not something, it happens quicker too, so you can just say, I am balanced is one that I teach little people, little kiddos. I am balanced, and it happens within a very short time for the younger ones. That they just pick it up right away. It's pretty fun to watch them do these kinds of things. You said something really important that I wanted to point out, Elsa, is that so it's a spotted dog, and the dog is loyalty and companionship, and we're leaving behind these weird relationships are changing, because before, what a relationship was the natural course of a relationship was dependency, was the other half making a whole, right? And that's a codependent relationship, however you want to call it. That's what it is, and the need. Um, and so what's happened, starting in 2020, actually, truly, is when it really started to happen, is that people were separately healing. They're healing their own self, and not to do with the other person or somebody else, and becoming whole. And so then, now these new kinds of relationships are coming in and looking more like a binary star system instead of creating a one sphere. And a lot of us don't have any idea what that looks like or how to do it. We feel kind of funky. It's like, where do you put your knees kind of thing. It's like, figuring it out as you go. Um, this seemed like a really important symbol, because it's this injury to this spotted dog, the injury to the many faceted relationship concept, is like allowing you to also be reminded that we're pulling away from these paradigms and these commitments to these types of things, and to allow it to be, we are all the same thing, we're the same being as well, and so we're not pulling away from each other, except for what it looks like is bubbles. And we had all been orbiting, like Elsa talks about the spin. We'd all been orbiting around each other, and now we're kind of going boop, and then whoop with our heart centers, and it's turning into a different expression. So I don't know, I felt like that was when you were talking about it being the spotted dog, and I was like, ding 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 ding, hello, look at this. So I just wanted to point that out. It's like, really, it's a big deal to me. So thank you for sharing your story and your I I, I really appreciate your rawness. I'm happy that he's okay.
Well, what was interesting is I was supposed to come and speak with you guys when this happened, and this happened, and yeah, and I had to then again be responsible. I was shaking. I literally was shaking, and I had to unpack it. It's such a good phrase, unpacking. It is. It really is, Todd. It's really this knighthood though. I have to bring it up again because it was really special hearing myself say it out loud a few times, and I have warned myself about it. Todd Medina brought up knighthood, and knighthood is being touched on each shoulder by a sword, but sword is to share. So he's sharing here and here. He's vocal out. This is the vocal area here. And he united us. And he's saying how all these people now are coming to him, and it's just been this whirlwind because he united us all. He united us all.
Yeah.
Pamela brought up the crow, and the crow sits on Odin's shoulders. Then Pamela, by the way, says, do you know about Cronus? Cronus is crow. Crow is spin. It's orbit. It's the
Cronus?
ancient ones.
Cronus like a
Yeah,
clock? Is that what does Cronus mean? Like a clock?
Yeah,
It's
you
a
said you were going
real.
to say something
Well,
about it.
please go ahead, Elsa.
No, I don't know any. All I know is it's crow and Cronus, and you said on Odin they sit on the two shoulders, which is where knighthood is as well. They go one.
Yeah, it's translatable between the two. So we have the Nordic Viking kind of stories with Odin and stuff like this. Um, in order to make Odin, there is the Jotun. I can never be sure if I'm saying it correctly, but they're the giants, and these giants begot Odin and two other brothers. There are three brothers, and that same story is also in Greek mythology, and Kronos was the father of Zeus, and many other children and it's a little bit more barbaric kind of a story, because this father ate all of his children, and then they like fought their way out through his stomach and then killed him from the inside out. Like, it's, I don't know what the symbolism behind that is exactly, though. It's, you can see over and over again the same concept of all the, like, the there, for instance, Odin's also Thoth, however you choose to pronounce his name. He's also Merlin. You know, these names don't mean that they're separate identities. It just is. Am I losing my internet? I'm looking like I'm.
No,
Okay.
you're coming through fine.
Cool.
It corrects it.
So they're shapeshifters, and so they talk about
Basically.
ETs, right? Okay, now you're gonna. Here we go. Meteor. Me is man. ET or
Ha.
man, ET or. So man, extraterrestrial, so is an outer worlder, or which is gift. Man's outer worlder gifts. So this meteor's coming through. Happens this year. This time every year. This is Odin's time. And he's bringing us the ore, which I love, because he's, you know, all the fleet craft we've had, and Pamela's talking about ships, and so this Odin energy and us recognizing it as creators and Magi ones now, we're taking the meteor. So we had come ET, and now we have me, ET, or. These words and these letters are symbols. They're not what we've been taught they are. They're more symbolic than this. And you're going to love this one. Magi ones. Now this brings it into things that we've seen in Hollywood. Magi ones. Binary system. Matrix. Magi ones. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Literally talked about this in the start of this show here. Creating ones, Magi ones, 1 1 1 1 1 1. It's a formula.
Yeah.
The Magi ones is the 1 1. It's not counting how we know it, like in the movie Lucy. It's not 1 and 1 is 2. It is never been that.
Right.
It's never been that. That's just how it's played out for a while, and we've played that out. It's literally running out of time now. That one is over.
Right.
You can hang on to it as long as you want, but it's going to be painful. Let it go.
Yeah.
You know, it's this Magi one is going to shoot through next year, and we're being prepped now for the dragon energy. And the dragon energy is the 1 1s, the ions, the I. So 1 on. So when you look at I on, it looks like the binary system again. See how it's a symbol?
Oh,
so
it's got an I and then the 0. The I and
on. Yeah.
Yeah. I-O.
It's this binary system, and so now Magi ones for me was the 3 wise men with Jesus. That's how I first learned of the Magi ones, because one of the things that was happening to our family is that we would hear 3 men in our house all the time in different homes. 3 men's voices at night. All the different family members would hear it at different times. It was very disturbing because we kept thinking someone was in our house. You know, you first think it's burglars, then you realise it's not burglars, and you go, "Who's that?" And then so we realised it's the Magi ones, and it's the 3 wise men, the shapeshifters, and that's us.
Right. And just as you were saying that, Chandra just message or commented, next year is the year of the water dragon too. The water dragon and the water consciousness is coming in. This is all consistent with what you're talking about. It's all, and this dragon this. What's interesting too is there's the tree of life, Odin's tree. The tree, like the earrings I'm wearing, like you have the tree, is called Yggdrasil, and there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on in this tree. A lot of creatures that live in this tree, and there's a whole bunch of symbolism behind it. Though the roots below the tree lives a dragon, and it's a it's like a I can't remember. There's many serpents that live down there, but there's a main dragon. Okay, and there are 3 main roots, and those 3 main roots go to like the 3 stages of awakening. Basically, is what it is, and this also goes into what I wanted to say. I was really excited because I started to think about Odin's eye again, and that's going to move through in that annular solar eclipse. It's going to happen October 14th. And what happens is the moon is far enough away from the planet that when it goes in front of the sun, it creates a perfect golden ring. And that's, when you're in the middle of the center of the path of it. And just then, as I was thinking that, I'm sorry, I didn't actually write down who said it and the comments have shifted since then. But they had said that door is that is a French word that means of the gold, and so it's a door, D''OR, door, and like the golden door, the eye of Odin. This is all like these symbols that are put before us in order for us to understand and connect to them. And so what's more is that there are 9 realms that are connected through this tree. That's really cool. So anyway, the dragon that, oh yeah, one last part. There's a cool squirrel. This is my favorite part. There's a cool squirrel. I can't remember his name, but he lives on this tree. And his job is, because at the top of the tree lives a massive eagle that has a hawk that lives between its eyes. And this eagle has a problem with the dragon, and the dragon has a problem with the eagle, but they live in different places. So the squirrel's job is to deliver insults from one to the other. Like, that's his job. And then he also is known to make up most of the insults too, because he has a lot of fun with squirrel. Anyway, isn't that cool though? So there's their dragon again, and you were talking about Odin, and I just wanted to point that out, that it's very much in the story of this understanding.
Well, I can break it to you. Last night, I saw Odin last night, which was a kind of a shock because I wasn't expecting. I kept seeing. I went for a walk and I saw 5 or 6 different times. I kept seeing like a flash, like somebody running, very quickly, not running, just like gliding. Some were dark, some were more like mist, white. They were light. That would be more accurate. But and then I start seeing this like the world, right? It was like the world, and it was like a story, and it was like this I saw this whole migration occurring, and it looked like it was coming from I don't know, it would have been Atlantis or the Middle East or the Holy Land. It definitely was older than the Holy Land, though. It was older than that. Anyway, I saw this whole part like what we would call like Scandinavia. Like, I saw this whole thing happen, and as I was watching it, then I saw this person who I'd seen one other time, long time ago. Morgan took me through like early session, like I'd never done a session that way, and just boom, just started happening. I told you about that. So I hear this, and I hear for like the 3rd time. I knew who it was, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? Like this was really, really palpable. I mean, it was really on the border of like Merlin coming in 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the dragons were solid in form, right? Mm. And then I just heard I heard Odin, but it wasn't Odin. It wasn't said Odin. It was more like with a W or a V, like Woden.
Yep.
That's it. I was like, whoa, Woden. And it was very deep, much deeper than my voice. It was very, very deep. and it was trippy. Because I didn't really get, but what I did get too was, and that's why when I asked you about the Chronos thing, for some reason and somebody said Father Time, and I looked it up a minute ago, and there is a time relation, there's a Chronos method of keeping time, but that's what I saw. It wasn't like he had a watch on and he was doing this, like looking at the watch. Somebody will do that and go, time, it's time.
Right.
But that's what he was saying. He was saying it's time now. So it was like seeing everything from the birth to this point, and I don't get it all. Like I don't know. For me, it was looking back at everything of the last, like, this little period, which is the technically Lionsgate. To me, yesterday was just huge finishing, and it was this whole thing about, I don't know how to say it, but like, we made it.
Yeah.
We actually have hit this level where we understand that as quick as a shadow comes in, it's converted to light. There's no more impediment in our path. There's no more resistance. It just, as soon as you see it, you go, oh, that's one of those, because they're all the same. It doesn't matter what they are. It could be what happened to you your first 14 years. It could be what happened to me the last 10 years. It could be whatever it is, whatever those occurrences are on the surface. And so I was getting that, and I was still getting the dying and birthing at the same time, because they were the same thing. And then this epiphany that nothing's left behind. Losing anything, even in the human literal sense, it's a shadow. It's a fear. It's a death program. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain this, but I just got this feeling that it's been building this year. You could see through your efforts that the reciprocation was there. The instant manifestation was there, but how do you do this? We kind of stumble into it, and you see it, and then there's still the echoes of the paradigm we're leaving. But now, to me, it feels like it's wide open. Like, just go out and create. Don't look back. Just create, and the abundance, energetic machine is going to feed the world, kind of thing. I don't know how to explain it.
That makes perfect sense. This symbol, I've been getting the same symbol. I just wanted to add to that watch thing really quickly. I've been seeing it over and over again, and I didn't identify what it was until you said it.
Ooh.
Is that I'm seeing like so you're zoomed in, right? So it's like this big, and you're seeing that the mechanisms that inside the clock, inside a watch, classic old watch, not like these digital things that there's all of these really tense, tightened springs that it's exactly what happened that caused that's the course of expression of self of God, our source, that in order to experience, source needed to unravel like a scroll. I can't line it up with the screen very well. I'm used to the other. And then the light source being God itself, and so it's the brightest, and the farther away from God's source, then you have shadow, and shadows needed in order to see self, because the parchment didn't have any color up here because it's so full of light, and the farther away when shadows express, you can see that there's parchment detail and things like this. And now we're back. Now we're at this place where we're scrolling back up, and then this reference of time. What they've done is, so then they tap the middle when the face is off, and it unravels it, and when it's unraveling, it's returning. It's so we're returning, and this is exactly what you're talking about. I'm trying to translate it at this. I'm getting it too. I'm so excited that you made reference. I understand a little bit more now. So thank you for your sharing. And Elsa was about to talk, and I cut you off. I apologize.
It sounds like I'm being rude. There's this like one little bit of time delay, and I'm sorry if I overtalk and Emma. This crow. Okay, so the crow on a farm. I learned this from very young. I would see the sheep. The sheep, if they hadn't been shorn, they would fall on their back, and the crow would come along and peck their eyes out while they were still alive. And I used to say, "I hate the crows. I hate the crows." And I was, as I understood the crows are the carriers between the two realms. Now, Odin has two on each shoulder. Crows are like dolphins. Their communication skills are magical. They click like a dolphin as well. And they remember. Their memory can travel over many, many suburbs and countries and towns, and you'll go, and Todd's talked about this before. I'm sure I've heard him say about the birds. These crows remember you, and they can tell other crows in other towns about you, and they will look at you like they know you. And that's how they would know if the farmers were going to shoot at them and things, because they're very clever. They know how to get away. So they really are the ancient ones. So now you have two crows on each shoulder. So again, it comes back to this your two beings. You're this being. So most of us, including myself, have only been one being. So we're just in act. We've been in 3D world, in the Matrix, playing out the stories that we thought we had to play out, getting married, going to weddings, going to birthdays, having Christmas, having Easter. We're being good citizens, right? So we're act. Now we're the other crow. We've been knighthooded, and now we see. So now we're two crows on two hills communicating and sharing our stories. We are, and there is no proof between this memory, dream, past or future, all those visions that you have, they have no proof of, they can't prove these. They can't prove that we're living, and they can't prove a dream. They can't, there's no way to do it. Memory is man's gift, so man's ore to share. So memory or a vision is man's gift to share. So you just use your memories or things that have happened to you. This is why you can't blame or get jealous. You just use it as a tool, a gift, an ore. So you wake up the next day and you collect all those memories, tools, gifts, and then you use them today. In this, and you can't project your memories forward, and you can't go to the back. You can't live in the past. You just have to live in that day, from the sun rising and the sun setting. Yeah. So you're watching. So now you're being like the two crows on Odin's shoulders. One's seeing and one's acting, and they're communicating. And now my crows are connecting with other people's crows, and on that hill crows, and we're all sharing, and this is creation. This is creation. And that's why it feels so huge, because from this day, your day now, but yesterday for us, was the confirmation of the shift. Enough had shifted. That was, in my world, we called it the shift, was yesterday. Your day there, the shift happened last year. And that was the confirmation that it's like we're okay. Now we just got to get through this pivotal.
What day was that? Would it be the 12th or the 13th?
I think it was Soulology for you. It was when you were getting cuffed.
Oh, you're talking about last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
that would have
That
been
was the shit.
that would have been
When you're
like
getting
that actually would be that would actually be a week from Tuesday,
yeah.
11:45 at night.
Well,
Did you
it's
get to
always
go to
like
any of
that
it?
time frame.
What? What's that?
Did you get to go to any of it?
No. I got to
I've
spend
always
the
wanted
night.
to ask you that. I've never
I
caught
got
the whole story. Not that
yeah.
we need to tell the whole story, but that sucks. I'm sorry that you didn't get to go to any of it.
No, I just went to. Well, I mean, I went to the cabin one night. No, I actually slept in a tent. I slept in the tent, my sister's tent. I wanted to sleep outside, thinking I was cool. But no. Then the next night I didn't get to stay there. I went to pick someone up at the airport and ended up, getting picked up. Which is all part of this. It's all all these cycles, all these circles closing out, and no thing and no one is left behind.
Yeah.
I keep getting the same thing over and over. I'm watching all these reunifications occur.
Right.
And to me it looks like that includes everything and everyone. Like I'm experiencing it in my obviously the circles closest to me, like my family. Like I'm stepping into some reconnections
Yeah.
as I'm approaching them. Like some of these conversations I have with my mother are they're like timeless. They're like multi-dimensionalities present. Even if the human is, dominant or whatever. But other family members, I can just feel it. I can feel it with everything and everyone. It's weird. But it's not. It's like I can see the oneness, like coming back together. It's just like you were talking about with the bubbles with the heart, right? I can see it happening. It's like, oh, there's nothing to worry about here. There's these things playing out in our head, these mind games and these thoughts that aren't even ours, that we just pick them up and we start making them ours. Like, this is how the world works. They're trying to get us, or this is what this person thinks, or this is what this person, or this is what I think of myself, and this is why I think of this of myself, and all that stuff, all that unraveling, is leaving, this. I don't think it was ever. Well, there was no separation, right? It was always intact, and it's been, this Lionsgate has been.
Yeah.
Or whatever, this period. I don't really, mark it coming to me, because all these months since March have been pretty much run the same way. And between around the 11th and the 22nd, there just seems to be a major corridor. But again, this one feels different. It reminds me of coming out of 2022, and you start walking on the ground, and you're like, whoa, this is a different world. But this is like a exponential, threshold or something. I don't know. Just a lot of things. A lot of things are. It like like Tetris, where everything just falls into place. It's like that. It's weird.
And it's a returning to self, just like that scroll example. Like I did a live Q&A a little while ago, earlier today, and I think it was Fleur de Lis. She had said, she had written a channeling she had gotten, but and it really resonated with me. Really quickly, she just a partial part of it. She said, "From fractal to oneness" is the message, and yes, that's what we're doing. Exactly what we're doing. The other example that what I'm shown a lot these days, I get a lot of visuals, and the visual I'm getting is like a pile of puzzle pieces, and there's no box. You can't compare it to something to figure out how to do it. You're just being in the moment, and you're realizing that you had just pulled broken the puzzle apart, so you can put it together correctly or in harmony in a place that you're intended to be in order to make it happen. And that Lionsgate for sure has been happening. It's a stronger sensation this year, and I started noticing it in February. And between Easter and like June 18th, we were in hibernation, didn't even know it. Like I didn't even know it. Like I was kind of on this like just stasis kind of place, and I didn't realize it until I reemerged from the chrysalis and went, holy crap, that was a weird, like I was almost in autopilot that whole window of time, not knowing that what we're doing is we're recalibrating in order to be in this moment that we're in now. And as we bring this forward, remembering that whatever you're naturally guided to do, like is correct. Like there's something to be said too about the merging of the crow with the raven, because there used to be separated. It used to be a big deal, like, oh, she said crow and she meant raven kind of thing. But I found that when we were talking about these things, they became interchangeable, which is very interesting to look into. And because the raven is magic and the crow is balance and law meaning balance, rather not balancing of the scales, in balance of everybody's equal in that kind of way, and just bringing the secrets of your soul out is what crow does in native tradition, teachings of this. And so it's like really useful to combine the two, to combine the magi with the knowing of balance. Then you have the completion of that balance. I'm going to add something that just popped into my head. So we're talking about Odin and all this stuff about the Eye of Odin, and Todd and I had that conversation a couple of days ago, talking about this parasitical energy that goes into the right eye. Isn't it interesting that Odin removed his right eye in all of this mythology? He removed his right eye in order to drink from the well of knowledge that came from one of the three roots of this tree that is so supposedly suspending all of these different 9 realms. And it just goes together. And the theme, I can't not talk about Odin when Todd's around. He brings a lot of Odin energy with him. He really does. And so anyway, I just wanted to add that last part as well.
So the raven and the crow in Australia, I don't know if this is the same over there. So I always have to double check. A raven has blue eyes in Australia, like a blue eye, and the crow has a brown or black eye. And there's something about you said mixing the two, Pamela, like how they mix. There was always this, separation, but the only difference is the eye color, and the eye comes up a lot, right? So Neff's eye is missing, and I've done sessions with 3 people this week, and they've shown me pictures of their dragon symbols or pictures or crystals they have, and all of them are missing their left eye. And I'm like, really? Their left eye? And now Odin's missing his right eye. So come back to the symbol again. The word I in origin meanings is the same as being, ace, one. It's 1. It's just being. It's the simplicity of being. And right. I know I keep bringing it back to this simplicity, but once we realize the simplicity, then it becomes complex, because then you start being able to allow all the more to come in.
Right.
But it's like you have to go back. We have to go back to our origins, back to the simplicity, back to our place of entry here in this realm, and then ascend up through that. So We've got to fall through the rabbit hole. Okay, we hit the bottom now. We've hit the bottom. Thanks a lot. It hurt. Now we can ascend. We can ascend back up.
Right. And the message of Odin is to cheer and to shout and to be in celebration too. Just that part is the most powerful part for me, is that when his energy comes in, like I hear masculine voices in joy. They're in a place of celebration and joy, and they get louder and louder with each person joining in. And not because there's another voice joining, it's because as more voices join, everyone's voices become more strong and louder. in this union.
Yeah.
A lot of stomping, cool fun
Yeah, I
stomping.
hear my
Like,
heart. I hear like my thumping of my heart get louder, and it's like I can hear the others thumping. It's a thump. It's not. It's a thump or a stomp. It's not a tap.
yeah,
It's beyond that now. We're
Well,
going. Now we're thumping. We have to call in the dragons, like to drag other ions with us. We have to now. We're thumping. We're thumping. We're doing like that united thing that Todd does, where he's uniting everyone.
yeah, I think this whole Odin thing too. It's some of this that's going on is this masculine that was dormant in everybody, because that is the actioner, right? That is the doer. That is the creator, the dream maker, and it hit me. It's been hitting me for a couple of 2-3 months, and that oh, I didn't even remember this part. I didn't remember this part of me. Like, it's so the whole world has been with this patriarchal, narcissistic, codependent, inferior, superior. There was no other way to communicate. That's why all the starseeds struggled so much, because there was no justice, there was no fairness, there was no proper reciprocation. It was distorted. There was interference, and yet it was like that seizure I had when I went to where the two violent oceans met. It wasn't a masculine and feminine, it was too masculine. It was the brother turned on the brother, because there's no way for the realm to function otherwise. There has to be that part of, and that was a hidden part from us. That's what I got. Like, my feminine within me didn't know that masculine had been doing the work to that degree, even though it was distorted. That part of me, she didn't know that, and so this whole thing just collapsed, and it was like, oh my God, you suffered too. You suffered too. You suffered in a way I can't even relate to. And all this time I'm trying to tell you how I suffered, and everyone knows it. You know what I mean? Like, that's been a focal point of 2012 forward. Has been the mother goddess landed, the feminine was suppressed, and the only thing you heard about the masculine in the early years was, hurry up, you idiots, hurry up, you guys created this. And then,
right.
But now enough divinity has surfaced that we can now align with that part of us that is the other half of our whole. And that is, going back to what you said at the beginning, we're here to create. Creation creates, right? It's creation is Eden. You know, and this thing you said about going down the rabbit hole, well, that reminds me of 12 years ago, you know, going into this well. I went into this well for 1,000 energetic nights, 2 different times. And the whole time I'm at the bottom of the well, which is the rabbit hole, right? Like she's talking about, like Elsa's talking about. And I had to climb out. And so I thought, oh, that's weird, she's saying that. And it's reminding me of this. And then I got in my head, what did you do when you got out? You created. I came out of the well, okay? The ethers started, you know, some of the story of the multidimensionality started to come in, little faint glimpses and flashes. The humans, like so many of us, like, you know, crazy, like you getting the call to go to YouTube. I'm being told, open up a Facebook group, call it Soulogy, and start sending poems. Like, what? You know? But the point is, when she said that, it triggered, Elsa, when you said that, it triggered that memory, and I thought, oh, that's exactly what happened. And then it was, what did you do when you got out of the well? Well, you started creating. And now here it is, same time, same bat channel, 12 years later on a new earth. Same rhythms, same motions, but there's no distortion and distraction in the air but that which comes from me. Which the lesson is, I came out of that well, because in the well was metaphorically, it didn't feel metaphoric, but it was the devil and 3 cronies, and it was torture and rape and all that. And when I came, and at the top of the well was all my aspects. And so what happened? I came out. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle what I was experiencing in terms of like kind of like what's happening now for us. How does this work? We got to get used to it. We're used to the old paradigm. We're used to all that other crap. So what did I do? I went back into the well because it was something I knew.
Yeah.
And then I got enough of that, and then I got out, and then and maybe there's something to that. But so we're out of the rabbit holes, Elsa.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. We're out of the rabbit holes, and now what do we do?
So, well and will are the same word. It's well and will. It's to spin. It's just to spin. It's us spinning. So I actually wrote an article on well because so much magic happens at the wishing well, and we've done lots of healings with a lot of people around the world with their wells. We've done it as well. I'm sorry.
As well.
Yeah. So well is will, and it comes. Thank you, Pamela, for bringing up this crow story and the raven, because it's just, do I look at it through the blue eyes or the black eyes? There's no wrong or right. It's just well or will. Which one is it? The well will take me down somewhere to see the light in a different way. That's all it is. It's just a tunnel to see the light in a different way. And you can get mad at it. Like, I can get mad at Richard if he says something, but I'm not really mad at Richard. I'm just mad at myself. I am. I'm just mad at myself. I can't get mad at the dog. I'm mad at myself. It's just okay, what do I get out of this? Where is it? A story? Is it something I got to do? Do I have to just sit still? Bring it back into now the acting and the scene. Bring it back into the acting and the scene so we can create with it. And it's already happening. It feels amazing. It feels very rattling, but it feels amazing. And it's these gifts that Todd and Pamela have brought forth. I'm very grateful for, because it's teaching me to prepare for next year with our family and our friends and our communities. It's teaching us how to build up our ions to get ready for the spin, so that we can use it in our will, in the way that we wish to use and create it, rather than on default. I mean, we can choose default if we want.
Yeah.
We can. It's still there. You can have that pill if you want it. But it's exciting. It's made me so excited this year that, like I said before, that I've brought the kids into this world, because I realize that I am on the right path.
Yeah. He just figured something out. Like, I'm full of emotion right now. Oh my goodness. So like, there's okay. So the 9 realms, that we talked about, right, of this tree. How do we say Odin? It's Woden. Woden. It's Woden. That's how you say it. This is Odin's name. And this whole time, it was right in our face. It was right in our face. The 9 realms, the bottom of the realm, the last realm. Here, let me see if I can make it so you can see it. I don't know if I can do this. Here we go.
Okay. There you go.
Backing up. Hell, well, will. Your will, being in your own will, is hell. It's removal from your place of in place of God, right? And this is the tree here. I'm trying to make it so you can see it.
Wow.
I'm shaking because I'm crying. It makes and so and that's always been, you know, the hell. It's not exactly real, but it's separation from God. It's separation from source. It's separation from truth. And when we go into our will, we go into our well. We go away. We have that separation. That's the sensation of hell. And while we are in this, wow, it just makes so much sense. And so as we, for example, there are basically 2 types of energies, those who can create and those who can't. The end, you know, and there's stuff in between. However, like even some of these amazing, like you hold them up so high, these energies are beautiful, just so beautiful and so knowledgeable and pure. Most of them can't make music. Did you know they can't make music? The way that they make music is they replicate the sound of planets in an atmosphere. That's their music, and we can create. And so all things that our distortion cannot create, and so all things that can't create are lost inside the will. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? I'm still, it's new, and I've got more to figure out, but holy cow in a bucket. That is just...
Right, I'm going to bring Hollywood into this because Todd brought up this week for me. He said I hope you don't mind me saying this, Todd, but he said, holy cow, I'm double slammed, I'm overwhelmed. And I went, he's overwhelmed again. Overwhelmed is over helm, which means you're at the top of the mast, like a crow. They call it the crow's nest, right? Looking down over the sea. So when you say helm is the bottom, right? In the Pirates of the Caribbean, I've brought this up before, how do they get to, I've got a point. How do they get to the spirit realm is they have to rock the boat. And they said, but we'll die. And this is what Todd's been talking about, you know, the feeling of death come over us because we're overwhelmed by all these energies coming in. When we feel like we've died, we spin the ship and we flip this thing over. And you've spoken, Pamela, about the stars being the sea.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the tunnel hitting rock bottom. So that hell is at the bottom. So now we're flipping this ship over, which is what the hieroglyphs speak to me in the Gosford glyphs. And guess who told me? Neff.
Who? Oh, Nephirim.
Neff, of course.
These hieroglyphs are telling you that it's flipping, like the axes are flipping, like the axes
Flipping
would flip.
the ship.
The ship would
There's
flip.
a flip. They call it a shipwreck. It's not a shipwreck.
Oh, I remember this.
It's
Okay.
actually the opposite of that. It's flipping the ship. Like how Pamela talks about the stars of the sea, or the sea of the stars. She's spoken about the world's being upside down a lot. And as soon as I heard her say that, I heard she's flipping the ship. We've hit rock bottom and we're on the helm. So we're at the pivotal point. So when you're at the crow's nest pivotal point, that's the 5th element spot. That's the middle of the compass. When you're at that pivotal spot, you don't feel like you're moving because the ship spins all the way round, but you still stay here. And this is where we are right now. We're at this pivotal spot. We're flipping the ship. This is going to be my term for this week. We're flipping the ship.
Flipping this shift.
And
Flipping
Yeah.
this shift.
Or you can say it another way. Flipping.
So you mentioned,
we're flipping
okay,
it.
yeah, you mentioned the dragon energy coming in. I think you said next year. I've heard some rumblings and felt some energies. September, you know, I don't know, third week, 20th, 25th, I don't know. Does anybody know anything? I'm just curious.
Yes, there's a lot happening on that day. There's of course remembering that that September is truly the seventh month rather than July.
Right,
Um, Sept.
right,
And so the 25th will be a portal day because, again, using numerology, you'll have the seventh year this year, as well as that's the seventh month and the seventh day of the month. Um, and I know that there are a couple of other elements that go into this. However, what's the most significant is that there will be, I don't know what it is yet, there will be a couple of other astrological events that are going to occur at that time to kind of be a placeholder or like a arrow on the map of it. Um, and it's significant that you mentioned that right at that moment, Todd, because where we are moving into this September stuff, so 7 does mean dragon, and there's something significant about this because a lot of people have been deliberately fed information regarding things like the reptilians, as an example I'm going to highlight for just a moment, and making this whole group be like bad guys. That's like saying, you
right.
know, you met somebody who's an asshole, and so you tell all your other ET friends humans are assholes. You know what? There definitely are a few of them. However, the example we're making here is this: these are enlightened beings who have been here this entire time. Some have become water, some have become rivers in order to be here in some type of dormant space in the frequency that we're leaving behind. And then also Jackie just mentioned the equinox is September 23rd as well.
Holy
You know?
shiitake mushrooms. There you go.
Right. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, and I think the same thing goes for, you know, not all Pleiadians are friendly.
Yes.
I mean, it goes for every group, everything. They're all made up of dark and light. I mean, it's just. But I think what you're saying is really important because we forget. We forget. These are narratives. They have purpose. They have agenda. Even aspects within ourselves. That's why I say question these voices that we hear.
Yeah.
This is our God right to question. How can you create if you don't question? How can you create if you're not curious? Questioning is expansion. It's okay. This is part of the whole human thing. This is part of what we're having so much pain to release, is that we don't want to give up these identities that are shit. Anyway, you know, we don't want to give that up. It's like me going back into the well because it was something I knew versus, whoa, this is a crazy world out here. I'm seeing 12-foot angels and I'm seeing, you know, people talking to me through, like I'm just like, what? You know, let me go back in the well and get raped and sodomized and pissed on and beat up, you know. At least, you know what I mean? This is what we do. We go into this shadow and we actually make the shadow something it's not. We make the shadow. And you know, this is all but you know, I feel like something huge has dropped away.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like something really huge has dropped away. No more talking about it. So yes, everyone goes through the different paces and different things, or I'm behind on and you're behind on and she's behind on, but there is no, it's you know, it's like I don't know what I was going over these last 2 years. Now I'm coming around for this third, and here we go with the 3.
Yeah, and it's 333 the whole time you were talking until you just said,
so there you go. And it's the 13th, right? But you know, like there's this third thing happening, okay? It 21, 22, 23. This third thing is happening again for me, and it's speaking in a whole different way. I can understand it more and respect the hell out of it. You know, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know. But like, just what happened? Like, it's 333 when I'm saying this about the threes. Yeah.
Can I just say that this with the for our actual Hackney experience here on the farm, it was all about wood. And
Odin.
as I understand it, it's the wooden dragon Chinese year next year. But I got it's the same dragon as the one in the movie The Eternal Story or the Never Ending Story. It's the same.
My daughter's
luck
watching
dragon.
that right now. She's literally watching that right now. I can hear it. The never end. I can hear the song. She's
Yeah. Well,
that's
in,
funny.
this is so. This dragon is sometimes they made it a dog dragon, but it was a lion head dragon. It's the dragon is the same as the luck dragon. It's the red dragon. It goes like you said. It goes across so many different eras, and this is this wood is again it's a choice, wood or I wouldn't, wood or I wouldn't. And this spot with the dog was where I obviously wasn't listening to the trees enough. So the trees go, okay, we're going to have to step this up a bit, and they did. They stepped it up a bit, and so okay, have you got the message now? Okay, I've got the message now. Okay, everything's all right. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And again, it's like Todd said, he understands it. It's his cycle, and what we have for October or the end of September is we're in the third spin cycle. So we had this is the year of the 3 big spins. I didn't know what it meant, but I didn't realize that it was going to be galactic or solar flares and stuff. But we come into the third. This is what our family have received is a third spin cycle. And before this period, we go into a Mercury retrograde, and we call it the RE words, all the RE words: rest, redo, repack it. You get a rest, you get a pause. It will feel frustrating because things will just feel like they're not moving ahead in this time, but it's time for you to have a breather, get ready for the third sprint. Recess, revise everything that's happened this year or your life, collect it all, unpack it, repack it, and then get ready for the third spin of the year.
Wow. And so there's another thing to add to this, just to November 30th through December 18th is when this 13th sign, astrological sign, exists. And this is the snake charmer, or this just the serpent bearer is what this I've don't know if I have confidence to know how to pronounce this, but it's
my symbol. I should be able to pronounce.
How do you pronounce it?
I have no idea. How do you spell it?
OPHIUCHUS.
I don't remember. I've heard Ophici. I don't know, but I should know.
It's water based, which is another thing, and we did talk about next year is the water dragon, and this has to do with the Chinese zodiac and the way that they keep up with their, and it's just it feels like it's just all kind of merging to this one theme, you know what I mean? And that this as all of this energy is coming forward, we're being shown the more true all of the information, all of it that's in front of us, and then when it's together, then it can make sense. By the way, it's really funny when Todd was talking, and he was talking about everybody catching up and being in the same place, and how we measure up and stuff. The words that I got, it's actually Archangel Michael, and I found it hilarious. What he said was, "It's a group project. There's some people who don't put any effort in," and I was like, "Oh, right, like in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you get put in a group, and some people just show up and get the A plus, and so to know that, not to be concerned, that we're all here now. We're all on this awakening. There's nobody left, that's not going to be. It's just there's still some purging occurring. Like, we still have ambulances all the time. No one knows anyone who knows the people that had passed. It's just, though, we're all on this awakening journey is what I'm saying. And so even if you don't feel like you're on, it's because you came in with more density. And so we're, as a group, assisting you to heal it by healing through our own BS, and it's okay. And to not feel any kind of shame about that. In fact, feeling shame and guilt makes it harder for you to heal. So just get over yourself and let yourself be taken care of by us, right? And it's okay. And you're okay. You are protected, and we're all insured this next phase of the development that we're moving into. We're insured. So, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Ophiuchus.
How?
Ophiuchus.
Oh, thank you so much, Todd.
No, that was Julie Pershing. Go ahead, Elsa.
So, Ascension symptoms one over here. So she said, like, get over yourself. So get over yourself. So how do you do that if you don't haven't been learn all this stuff that we learn, or you practice all this stuff we practice, or you're just awakening now? How do you do this now? You test it.
Right.
You go, okay, for 1 week, I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm not going to be like what Todd said. I'm not going to be jealous. I'm not going to hold anyone to anything. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to witness me. I'm going not to say any judgment on anyone for 7 days. Do it biblically. Well, 7 days, test it and see if your pain goes. See if things change or lift for you. Be the witness of it and see and prove it for yourself. Don't prove it for anyone else, just prove it for yourself. And if you see the light, like at the well, you'll see the light, it will feel better. You won't want to go back.
Right.
Because you've proven it to yourself. Proven it to yourself, and I'm saying that so that you can put it in your day-to-day practice while you're washing dishes, while you walk into work, while you're in your job and you feel like you're not going anywhere in your job. Watch who crosses your path and be this witness that Pamela said, getting over yourself. Get over yourself. Get over the story of yourself. Live from sunset to sunrise, sunset to sunrise. Let go of the memories and just practice it for 7 days and see if it feels better.
Right. And you can go back if you want to. If that's something that you want to continue. That's the coolest part about this ride, guys, is that we are in a place that is that free will reigns supreme. Like, we decide. Like, that's the difference is that now, before it was assumed consent because so many people were unawakened, that now all consent has been removed, and so there needs to be action. There needs to be that makes a lot of sense. It goes along with what you were saying earlier too, but they're saying, so in order to create, we do need to act, right? And so in order to understand the frequency that you're in, there needs to be some type of motion, and whatever that motion ends up being. And so as we start to move, then we find out what that motion is.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. How do you experience if you don't move?
Right.
You experience, we've all been in the void. And the void's just nothingness, right? I mean, just. Well, you said something. What were you just talking about? Oh, I was going to say Yolanda Marie, right? You know her? Right.
Yeah,
Is that who you were talking about the other day when you said Yolanda? You like had an incomplete sentence. Something about Yolanda. Anyway, in the show.
Yeah, I love her. She's my sister.
Yeah, she put up, she does those weekly Arcturian channels. She did the last one she just did, which was a couple days ago.
I need to check it out.
It's good. She speaks to exactly what's breaking down.
Cool.
Exactly what's happening. Two energies. Basically the patriarchal narcissistic programming
Yeah.
Basically, and the way she explains it is really, really good. You know, she's good. But I would just, I would recommend anyone to read that. I'm not read it, to sit before it. I think it's 10, 12, 14 minutes. Ophushus. I think that's closer. Ophushus.
Confucius. Sounds like Confucius, kind of, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. Hey, you know what else you guys made me think of when we were talking is that everybody talks about. I've always wondered because I've had a bunch of near-death experiences. Some of them are very provable. You know what I mean? And like, I've never had a tunnel. Like you're supposed to have a tunnel with a light at the end, and I was like, and I always assumed that was due to the karmic loop that I wasn't a part of. Like, then I found out karma is not real. So I'm like, well, what the. However, the symbol of that, all of these light beings are above this well as Todd is engaging in the depths of his will with all of these things. And so they are beings of light. So there's a light at the end of that tunnel.
Right.
And it's a tunnel that he's within at the base of. And what's more, by the way, is they're always telling me this. It's like a fun joke that I don't usually blurt out, though they're always saying, the peak of the mountains are the roots of the mountains. The peaks of the mountains, the roots of the mountains. The peak of the tree is the root of the tree. And so if we can see that, and then they immediately will go to show you the pyramid. The pyramid actually, I don't have two pyramids that are the same size, so this is going to break stuff while I do it. So if you put these, there we go. Put these two pyramids together, you'll see that this is the top pyramid. However, there's another one beneath it in the ground, and so the root of the pyramid is beneath it. And this is actually the place that people hang out in. They don't hang out up here. This is like going to the attic. Like no one goes to the attic. You know what I mean? And so, so all things are meant to flip, right? What we're trying to say right now. And we're trying to like convey this message that they're bringing forward is that all things are meant to flip. When we remove investment from a preconceived notion or what it's meant to, so it's supposed to be, then we realize that we had been committed to a falsity, that we are actually, everything's upside down. And if we flip it upside down, and suspend all judgment for it, allowing it to just be what it is, a lot of it will float on off. It no longer has it instead it is being imprisoned rather than imprisoning us.
Right. That's right. And that's the way it ended up translating. You know how things make more sense down the road, right? I was in my root. I was in my roots. And those aspects at the top of the well where the light is were my multidimensional aspects. It was it was Archangel Michael and Yeshua and Magdalene and all the others, the guides and the ones that were present at that time. It was all inside of me. Every bit of it was inside of me. So these demonic entities or whatever these things were, they were symbols. They were me, taking me into to a journey of rediscovery. And it's I know it sounds like an old, but it's the hero's journey. We are the hero's journey. Herios Gamos, hero's journey. There's it's like the Vesica Pisces. I mean, we separate from ourselves or create some kind of belief or hologram or something, and then we bring it back together, just like our logo. So yeah, that's a good reflection for me.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I'm good.
To add to that for you just really quickly too is that there's this whole thing that I'm not well read when it comes to the Bible. That's not something that I really know much about. So it's significant when Spirit guides me to open the book to a certain spot, because I have no idea what I'm about to read. And what I was drawn to look at in the book, I mean through the internet, was the book of Matthew, and specifically a translation that was more into Pamela language instead of thee, thou, thy kind of language. And they talk about, it's very clear. The writing says chosen ones. It's a plural. There are many. There's a plethora of these individuals. And the chosen, time will slow for the chosen ones in order to make it easier during this time. Time will slow. The days will be shortened. The shortening of days is actually the wording that they use. And what's more is right after this sentence, they talk about that there you will hear echoes. You will hear rumors, rather, of war, famine, loss, all these things, that they won't affect you as the chosen ones. For they're not real. It's happening in some other experience than not to any of us. I'm bringing this up because part of September and October is there will be emotion, and it's nothing that there's no reason to be alarmed at all. It's trying to cause alarm though, of what's noise. They call it noise, like the shout before the flush kind of thing of protest. And so it's trying to inspire a fear here and there.
Yeah,
letting you
exactly.
know that's coming true, right?
Yeah, that resonates. That's why I said it's like two. Like fear and love. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just two different experiences. And but yeah, I feel that. I feel like that. You watch the false flags lose their power over the years, beginning with 9/11. It took a while, and then more, like around by 2012, many people woke up when they dug into that. And then they had these shootings, and they had these other things, and they'd be on the news for like a day or two, and then they just got less and less, and now that you don't really see it too much. But so to me, it's kind of the same thing. Like, where did $113 billion go in Ukraine? Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? It's like a cartoon. Where does $113 billion go? Now, this is not a political statement or anything like that. I'm just trying to make a point, and the energy of that doesn't even make sense. With $113 billion, you could kick the whole world's ass. You know what I mean? It's like there. So all this stuff that's coming out, it's like to make us. It's so preposterous to make us choose ourselves and let's go. You know what? I'm not watching this clown show anymore. I'm going to go walk in paradise. And then you walk outside, and these little things happen. These little synchronicities. I call them physical synchronicities. I did a show I produced a show yesterday with Jill Woodworth. I'm sorry, it was yesterday morning, Glennis's show, Seamless, which is very cool. If y'all can catch that. I still got to load the shows up from yesterday. But so I meet this friend of Jessica Black who's going to read with him. And I said to her, hey, where do you live? She goes, I live in Austin. I said, oh, well, we're going to have a Soulogy Fest December 8th, 9th, and 10th in Houston, Texas. She goes, oh, that's my birthday. I said, when's your birthday? She said, December 9th. I said, that's my birthday. So there's all these little things happen, and you know what? I mean, you can't. Like, I'm serious. When I take walks now, it doesn't matter. I can be going just to the juice place and back. I can go for a regular long walk. Everything is talking to me. Everything. The trees, the wind, the bushes. The birds are huge. The birds are just like you were saying earlier, like they're talking, and by the time you get to their friends over here by the school where I go, they're already ready for me. It's crazy. But they're all confirmations. They're just not confirmations that put money in your bank or give you a label or a role or a accreditation or a certificate. It's the natural nature of our being and our and our symbiosis with the earth. I mean, and everything. So pretty cool. We're all catching up with Elsa's family now. Can you imagine being in a house with 10 people and they're like, oh, okay, we got 3 men in the house again. It's like normal for them, right?
Yeah. Well, it is normal, but it's still some, like the newer stuff coming through, like last night meteors, it's new energy, so it does take a little bit longer. You said chosen ones, and then realize has shapeshifted as you guys were speaking. Realize is, okay, play with me here. Real is, so realize to me has always been real eyes. So real, there's two separate words, right? But then they showed me Richard, real in the fish. So it's a reel. So, okay, we're spinning now. So we're reeling in the eyes. Real. So we're spinning eyes. So it's eyes again. So we're spinning the eyes. Eel, serpent, eel spinning, eel's dragon. Then you said the chosen ones again. So because I keep coming back to this matrix and the binary system. So the chosen ones is will or well. Which one is it? Will or well? Will or well? Chosen ones. So again, the chosen ones. The chosen ones means more than one. This is what Odin means. Odin means grandfather. It means leave one behind. It doesn't mean leave one behind in a mean way. It just means he's leaving his son. The father, the son.
Yeah.
So you have the rise and the set, and you have this mother energy all through the day to create in the darkness. So the darkness lightens with the sun and sets, and this is it again, the father and the son. So are these the two crows as well? Like, I don't know, are these the two eyes on the two different eyes of the crow? Because you talked about the crow, you talked about this is Pamela. Oh, by the way, Odin's eyes day, you said there's an Odin eye day coming up.
Yeah.
Do you remember you
October
saying
14th.
that? Like, yeah, she's like, by the way, it's Odin Eye Day, and it's where the sun is. It all marries up.
That eclipse you're talking about. And you know what? Here's what's crazy. Somebody, when we first started the show on YouTube, has that picture. If we go back and look at the very top of the live chat, you're going to see it. I don't know what their name was. It reminds me of Lisa Harrison's logo that I believe is on her either her YouTube or her website. It's the black, it looks like a black moon with a gold rim or something. So what you were saying about this Odin eye thing and that annular eclipse, I saw a lady, a sister had it at the very beginning of the show. I thought, because I tried to go find it, but it's already off the thing.
That's really cool.
320 comments, man. That's a lot of comments. Had 170.
There's a lot that was said today.
Yeah, there's 170 people. There's still 132 in here. And that was cool. Yeah. 5:55, and we were at 3 minutes ago, and you were saying that it was 1:55, 1 hour 55 minutes and 55 seconds, right when you were saying that.
Wow.
Sundancer says black hole sun. Yeah.
So you got to 555, was it? 3 5s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 3 minutes ago.
Right path.
Right path, yeah. Right path.
It was 3 5s, and then she was finishing, and it was saying 1 hour 55 minutes 55 seconds.
Wow.
Right.
And it was 5:55. Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. We're in this time is the best part of the story. There are things you can look for and you're like, oh wow, like at October 18th is what we're talking about, or 14th, I'm sorry, excuse me. October 14th is this annular, it's called Odin's eye, so I want to say ocular. I want to I can and struggle to say the word annular because it's ocular in my head. That's happening in October. And we're also having the 777 portal in September. And then November is kind of like that moment where we have a respite and everybody goes, am I still an empath? All of a sudden I can't feel everybody. And there's no, we're just removed all the cords so you can choose what cords you're going to have connected. And so everybody's going to kind of like be in a little bit of a panic, but they're fine. And then here comes December, and this is that window of this snake that we're opening up, this energy in the snake. There's this serpent that's presenting itself in these different spaces and times. There are different parts of it. It's the same thing. It just comes for a minute, like the wise one does. First you teach the child how to read, and then you give them a book, right? So we're trying to do it all ahead of schedule here, and you don't worry, you're already ahead of schedule. It used to be that the end of the window of, okay, now it's finally done, was 2050. That was back in the 80s when it was 2050. However, it was early for that projection before I had died. Now, well, then we sped up a bunch and everybody caught up even more. The momentum's creating this thing that we are here. It's no long. Just the short version is that it's enough people are fully online and everyone is ahead of schedule. So that's why we're feeling like we're doing things that is like treading water. It's because they're giving you busy work while we're kind of waiting for some elements, and that's all. So I'm just, that came through and I needed to say it. I'm sorry.
Sounds good to me. That was an action-packed, fast and furious 2 hours.
Yes, it was.
It was perfect.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was lovely having this conversation with you.
Yeah, this is great. You guys are dynamite together, no doubt. And I think we got the right, because I remember the way it was pronounced, and it came from Chanda. Officious.
Officious.
That's the closest one I've heard to what I had heard before. But, hey, okay, so I got 7 shows to load onto the network, and tomorrow we have, what do we have tomorrow? It's starting to fill up pretty good. Tomorrow we have Soul Speaks 5D, Anna Toothman Authenticity, and then the music. And then I'm gonna be we're gonna be hitting the road going to Corpus Christi. Me and my mother, Wednesday or Thursday. We're gonna meet Ty and Serena down there, and a bunch of people like Chanda, Donna
Cool.
Owens, Monica Ramirez is coming up from the Valley. I'm hoping some people come from San Antonio, maybe. Oh, there's a friend, Laura Ormsby. She lives there in Corpus. She's going to come. So we should probably have 20, 30 people. And we're going to stream it. And then we're going to do 2 next month in Sedona on the 24th and the 30th. And we'll do one in LA in October and a couple in November. I don't know where.
Right on.
Yeah, just keep it moving. Keep it moving. That's how it works. Just like you said, it's like the way you started everything. All right, love you guys. Thanks. Love you guys.